2 of U.S. Nationals and are having a great time. Unfortunately, some people already can't hang. For everyone else, competition is starting to heat up. For many, U.S. Nationals is the biggest show of the year for them and to win a title in a horse show class. However, when watching a class, you might not know how the class is being judged. Annalise Himmel gave us an inside look into a popular class, the Mounted Native Costume class.
Hello, I'm Annalise Himmel. I am from South Louisiana, and I have here CSB Magician, affectionately known as Magic. And he is a full Arabian. He shows in show hack and native costume. So today we're going to show you a little bit about the native costume. So first we're going to talk about his bridle. Here is his main headstall here with his brow band, and as you can see it's very blingy because it matches the rest of his costume. So it matches his pretty little face here. Then we have the cavesson, which is cinched under here underneath his jaw, which just kind of helps to keep his mouth closed around the bit. And he is an English style horse, so he has 2 bits on. He has his curb bit here, which is used to help bring his nose to his body. And then he has his snaffle bit, which is the smaller one, the bradoon, and it's attached to the top rein. And that's the bit that we use to elevate him and keep his head up while we're going around the arena. So as you can see, my snaffle rein has the pretty little tassels here, and then the curb rein is a leather rein and it goes on the bottom. Next we have his breast collar, and his breast collar has the matching tassels as his bridle. Don't do that. And then it actually snaps back to the blanket that he wears, you see here, and then the saddle goes on top of that. So the history of native costume dates back to the days the Bedouins would ride the beautiful Arabians across the desert. Some people decide on a more authentic traditional style costume with more yarn tassels that are big and bulky, and you'll see later what my body part looks like, my costume looks like. But I go with a more, I guess you would call it a modern look with the bling and a little bit modern tassel. It's made of a different material. So this is my native costume that I wear in the class. We'll start from the top. So here is my little princess hat, I call it, and it just is a cover. If you can see here, it's formed and made, and then there's this little scarf that drapes down and wraps around just to have a head cover, because that is a mandatory part of the class. And then next you'll see my cloak, and it is made with a split in the back so that when I ride astride, it will go on either side of my horse. And then the sleeves were custom made since I'm so short, so they don't interfere with my riding at all. And then I also have my little pajama pants here, like little bloomers, and my little cape on top, I guess you could call it blouse. And then I have a little cummerbund just to kind of make everything look tailored. And then finally, you'll see my boots, and boots or closed-toe riding appropriate apparel is required. When the class was first started way back in the day, you were able to wear little slippers, or you could wear like even sandals at some point, but they are not allowed anymore and you have to wear boots. So that's one of the little key parts of my attire. I also wear gloves whenever I show so that the reins don't slide from my hands or anything like that. Okay, so a little bit about the class itself. You typically enter from the canter. I don't think I've ever entered from anything but the canter. You come in and go the first direction of the arena, and once the class is called to order, everyone's on the rail of the canter, then the judges will typically ask for a hand gallop. Now the key about the hand gallop is you want to extend your stride and get a little bit bolder without being too fast. Because the excessive speed is penalized in a costume class. So it's a safety reason. They don't want everybody just going very fast around the arena, appearing to be out of control. And then we will typically walk, and the very important part about the walk is that you need a flat-footed walk. You need a true 4-beat gait where your horse is relaxed and walking around the arena. And then we'll reverse and we'll do it the second direction. In a costume class, when they ask you to line up, we line up head to tail on either side of center ring so that the audience as well as the judges can see your costume from both sides. So when the judges rank the class, they are judging both the performance and the costume. 25% of the judging goes towards your costume, whether it's suitable for your horse, if it's a pretty color, make sure you don't have, you know, too much excessive bells or anything that might have been distracting to other exhibitors in the class. And also 75% of your class is your performance. So did you perform the gaits well? Was your horse mannerly? Did you halt and back when you were supposed to, etc., etc.
U.S. Nationals draw spectators and exhibitors from across the U.S. and Canada. One exhibitor, Murray Popplewell from Raydon Arabians, is all the way from Canada. Murray didn't always have horses, but him and his wife quickly fell in love with them, and they are now very involved in the Arabian horse industry.
I'm Murray Popplewell from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and Scottsdale, Arizona. We've got farms in both places. It was, I guess, about 15 years ago, my wife and I decided that maybe we should have a horse. And so we decided we'd go out and look for a horse. And it didn't matter what breed it was. We just started with any type of a horse that we could ride in the ditches. And we had an acreage, and it was kind of a novelty thing. And so we both went out and we looked for horses. And we happened to, I found a purebred Arabian that I fell in love with. And she found a half Arabian. And it was half quarter horse, half Arabian. We thought that was great. And then we went to the tack shop and mentioned to the people that we had bought a horse, and and they wanted to know what kind of horse. So we said Arabians, and they said, well, we raise Arabian show horses. And so we decided, well, you come out some Sunday and take a look. And we went out and we took a look, and that was the beginning of the end.
From where you started, did you ever think you would be where you are today?
No, we just never even thought it would lead to that. The first show we ever went to was the Canadian Nationals, and that was back when it was quite a popular show. And so we went there, and Jeff and Jerry Shaw were set up there with their Shada Arabians, and those guys were so kind to us because we were so, we knew so very little about things. And we took our pedigrees because we couldn't remember what our mare's pedigree was. And so we took it with us. And I remember showing Jerry Shaw, this is our mare. We'd like to breed to Star of Fame, was at his peak then. We'd like to breed to your stallion. And I showed him the mare, and he says, no, I don't recognize anything there. and he was so gracious. And so we said, well, we have this filly that was born 3 days after we bought the mare. She's beautiful. She's a beauty. And so we convinced the two boys to drive 2.5 hours north of Regina, where we lived, and come and see this filly because we talked her up so well. Looking back, they were very gracious. We could take this filly, Shirley, my wife, could take this filly onto the deck. She could put it on the back of a trailer. She could carry it, take it in the garage, around all the cars. It was so quiet and so calm. And we served them lemonade, and they were so gracious. They drove 2.5 hours to see this filly, and now looking back, they weren't impressed with what you know about horses today. But they didn't show us that. They just said, if you really want a show horse, a halter horse, surely you can't take it in the house with you. First U.S. Nationals had to be, it was shortly after we started, so I would say it has to be 12 years ago. It was in Albuquerque. Back when it was in Albuquerque, and we only took 2 horses, and we moved in with somebody that was already there, and we would, you know, I can remember going to the show, and then you'd run to the postings to see if you made a judge's card. And we were so happy when we made one judge's card. We didn't make a top 10, but we made a card. And we went home, and people would ask us how you did it. Well, we made a card. And you know, that's how it all starts. And it's not easy. It seems a lot easier. And if you don't want to, like, you can go out and buy a champion mare. Anybody can do that. Go and buy the champion mare and have some fun showing it. But that's not the challenge. The challenge is to breed one that you can be a champion with.
What piece of advice would you give someone that was once in your shoes?
Well, it is intimidating. There's no doubt about it. But I feel that one of the things that you have to do in this Arabian business is to feel strong about yourself, and you're bringing your best animals. And I always say, we look out there in the class. If you feel your horse belongs there, you're a winner. And whether it gets a prize or not is secondary. That's a judge's decision. But the thing that's most important there is that first your horse belongs out there. And if it belongs out there, you're part of the game.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.